Hi everyone, making lemon meringue pie today. So if I start by saying that this all started because we made some lemon curd and there was a lot of interest in knowing how to make the lemon curd, which we were fine to do, but then that leaves you with a load of egg whites. So I thought, actually, who doesn't love a nice lemon meringue pie? But we've got to fit it into a workshop time frame. We all right, Mr. Busy Baker?
Yeah, we're already getting questions about the sugar quantities.
Yeah, okay. So we've adapted it to be a biscuit base rather than a pastry base, as that was more simple, or simpler rather. And then we've got a purely lemon curd filling, and then the meringue top. Now the sugar, I am very poor at maths, I do apologise. I gave you the right breakdown, but I added it up wrong in the total. So you're going to need 135 grams for the curd, and you're going to need 200 grams for the meringues. So there's two separate amounts. I did try, because we've got different sections, and I know a lot of you like to weigh things out in advance, I did try to break it all down and give you the equipment needed as well. So fingers crossed, it's all worked, bar my poor maths at adding up the two amounts of sugar. Are we all right to start, do you think?
Norm has also asked about cornflour in the lemon curd.
Yeah, so we're not doing the big dense lemon meringue pie filling. We're doing a lemon curd filling. If you wanted to make it that big denser filling, you can add cornflour to that. I actually wrote it down because I thought this might be a question. If you want to make it that bigger, denser filling, you will need, we thought, bear with me, 2 tablespoons of corn flour and around 300 ml of water. But please, if you're watching this, please bear in mind that is if you want a denser, but we have adapted this to make it simpler. We didn't want anything to be too difficult, or it could form lumps or anything like that. So we're just using, and the lemon curd that we're making sets quite nicely. But if you, and it makes a whole jar, so it should be plenty. But if you want it to be a true big lemon meringue filling, then that's the quantity: 2 tablespoons of the corn flour and 300 ml of water. But that's only if you want to do that bit extra. We won't be particularly sticking to that. We will doing just the lemon curd. Right then, are we good to get going?
I just want to repeat again for those who aren't sure. It's 135 grams of sugar for the curd, and you'll need 200 grams of caster sugar for the meringue, for those of you reweighing.
We are learning because Mr. Boozy Bakers now has a copy of the ingredients by him as well. So if I make a mistake, he can correct me. Right, so if we start off with the base. We've got a dish. It doesn't have to be fluted, it's just, this is what I have. It's about 8 inches. And it's got a bit of depth to it. We're going to be putting our biscuit base on the sides and go up on the base and go up the sides. So I've pre-greased that just to make it easy to release, and that is just been greased with a little bit of butter, but you can use a bit of oil or margarine or butter, and just grease whatever dish you're using. I am going to ask as well, could you give me a thumbs up as we go through sections of this recipe? If you give me a thumbs up, it gives me an idea on where you are, whether you need a bit more time. I've probably got less organised in terms of, normally I've got a lot of stuff pre-weighed out. I haven't got a great deal this time. I'm doing a lot of it at the same time alongside you. So I'll probably go at the same speed anyway. Right then, so we've got about 300 grams of digestive biscuits that I'm going to put into a basic plastic bowl. The bowls, I might go on about them a bit today. The glass bowl I've asked you to get, I think I've split it up as well into when you'll need it. You will need that for your curd and meringue if you can. But nice, just plastic bowl for now for my biscuit base. and we're going to, that's 300 grams, and I'm just going to crush that with a rolling pin. You could also use a bag and roll it over, but I'm just like being a bit aggressive with my bashing. Actually, Erin normally does this.
Is it better to have a tin slightly bigger or smaller? Don't have an 8-inch one.
Depends how deep you want your lemon curd. I think you'll have enough base to go bigger. Questions. I would, if you've got 7-inch, you could do 7-inch. I think if you've only got 6, I would go bigger. That's my advice. You could also do a square one. If you haven't got a circular, you could use a cake tin, just a shallower one.
Do we need to preheat an oven?
I think we've got a lot to do before you need to put the oven on, but if you want to, we're going to go with 170 or 150 fan, gas mark 3, but you will need that right at the end, and it's quite a low temperature, so it won't take a lot to get it up to temperature. But if you want to set it now, absolutely fine too.
Gina's tin choice is 7.5 or 9. 7.5.
7.5, yeah. You might find when you've made your biscuit base, you have some less base left over, but I just wanted to cover because I don't know what tin you're using and the height of it. So if you find that you have a bit left over, that's fine.
Marianne has larger eggs. Do they still use 4?
Yep, you'll be fine. It'll take a while. Mr. Bootsy Baker, tell me something.
Kate needs to use a 9-inch tin, that's okay.
That's fine, yeah.
I'm sure everyone else at the moment is doing the same thing, crushing up biscuits.
Lots of concentration going on the biscuit crushing. The reason we use a biscuit base, I hope you can hear me over the crunching of biscuit, is because it doesn't need pre-baking. If you've done our quiche workshop, you will have seen the amount of chilling and par baking required for a pastry base. So, I mean, the easy way around it is get a pre-bought one. If you've got more time, then I highly recommend having a go at a sweet pastry base. But for the purpose of today, we thought a biscuit base would be just as yummy and allows us to make it quickly.
So Maureen's on it. She blitzed her biscuits earlier.
That's cheating! I don't blame you. I'm nearly there. I'll catch up with you lot if you've been organised.
If Mark doesn't have a glass bowl, can you use something else?
You need a heat-proof bowl for your curd because you're going to be putting it over a pan. You could potentially go straight to a pan, but you've got to be so careful being on direct heat. You don't want to burn it. It's much better to have a bowl over. So if you had a metal bowl, you could use that, but you kind of want a bowl over a pan, ideally.
Emma would like to know, can she use a cake tin?
So a cake tin?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Just if it's a shallower one, that would be better.
Mary would like to make individual little tarts instead of a pie.
Go for it. Sounds great idea. Right, I think we're about there.
So for Anna's question, she asked about 8-inch cake tin. Do go for a shallower tin where possible.
Yeah. Right guys, I think I've done it. I think we've got... Oh, can I hand that to you, Mr. Bootsy Baker? Thank you. So, if you did the cheesecake recipe with us, this won't be new to you, but that is the crunched up breadcrumb-like biscuits. We've got thumbs up on that. You were all faster than me. And now I've got, sorry, I have to keep referring because I've got lots of ingredients today. 150 of butter. Now that is softened, but I would like it to be melted just to stir it into my biscuit crumbs. So I'm going to give that to Mr. Boozy Baker's. 30 seconds in the microwave should be plenty, depending on how soft your butter is. It's also work if you use margarine as well. That's no problem.
Janet's asked about brown sugar. Did you replace the caster sugar with brown?
I would have said no. I have no clue how that will turn out in your curd. Definitely have no clue how that would turn out in meringues. I've never tried it, and I think overall meringues calls for a fine sugar. So I really don't know on that one, but I would have guessed not. Right, so I've got my melted butter, which I'm going to pour in to my biscuits.
That's 150 grams of melted butter.
Thank you, 150 grams of the melted butter. It's a good job I've got Mr. Boozy Baker's, really. Keeps me nicely on track.
And Gina likes your yellow shirt as a nod to lemons.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to coat all the biscuits in that butter. I'm not expecting it to come together as a dough. I just wanted them to be coated so I can press them into my base.
That's 150 grams of butter, Ed.
Well done. Please, if you're doing this with children today, just bear in mind that you have got a heat element. And you've also got separating eggs, which they might need a bit of help with. So I would challenge you today. Right, once you've got it all coated, you want to get your dish and pour your biscuit crumbs in. As I said, I'm going to leave some back just to see if I need them. I'm going to use the back of the spoon to press it in, because unlike the cheesecake base, we don't need it to be really thick because we want to be able to put the lemon meringue inside of this dish as well, which is why I said it really depends on the depth of your dish. So you might find you have a few more biscuit crumbs than needed. But overall it should be about right. But remember, you want to go up the sides this time because we want to hold that curd filling. So really pack it down, and now I've got a bit more space in the dish. I can put a bit more in. And I'm just going to push it into the sides. This might take me a bit longer than you guys, just because I'm being a little bit careful on my wrist today.
Is the dish greased?
Yes, we did grease the dish prior to putting anything in it. You'll probably, because of the butter content, you'll probably be alright if you haven't done that. But it is an idea to do it.
Your mum's just asked the question, is that water in the champagne glass?
No, Mum. It's definitely Prosecco. It's not by choice, because I had to make a Prosecco cake, you see, and I don't like wasting things. So I drank the rest. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit cack-handed at the moment. I'm getting there. But I don't know if you can see, I'll show you kind of like a part-way point. I'm just pressing that into the sides. Can they see that, Rich?
Yeah.
There you go. I've exposed your name again, Richard. So I don't know if you saw any posts in the week, but we're working with a lovely local company. I'm going to tag them in a post shortly. We've been looking at aprons. We made an apron for Mr. Boozy Baker, and a mug for Mr. Boozy Baker, and a bottle opener for Mr. Boozy Baker. So he is completely kitted out with merchandise at the moment.
See if you can catch this.
It's great. He really likes because it's stuck to the oven hood. So I do apologise if you are much faster than me. But I'm just being careful how much pressure I put down on my wrist.
Probably give people a minute as well to still mixing theirs as well.
Oh, that's fine then. Good, excellent. So 300 grams was about right with the digestives for an 8-inch. If you can hear us, we've been told that we've got a poor signal, so we just want to check if you're online or not. Are we good?
We've got one person saying we keep breaking up, but my signal's come back now, so it seems fine.
Fingers crossed that was a glitch and we are back. I haven't done anything else, just talked to myself maybe for a few minutes. But if hopefully you're online again, or we're online again. But I've just finished putting that base up to the sides of my dish. Are we good? Got some happy people?
I've been blamed for freezing the feed with my self-promoting.
He's like that.
But they're all back. They're all thumbs up coming through.
Excellent.
Yeah, haven't missed much.
No, you haven't missed anything at all. We stopped. If we get a poor signal, we will stop what we're doing and we wait until you're all back with us. Yes, Mr. Boozy Baker's even got a Twitter account now. He has no clue how to use it, but but if you want to find him on there, you can find Mr. Boozy Baker's under Twitter now, and then you'll have to teach him how to use it. Right, so I've got a little bit left, but not very much at all, and I've filled the base, I've packed it down, I've squished it against the sides, just so it can contain my lemon curd when we get to that point. Have we got thumbs up? Are we getting to
We've
there?
got thumbs up. There's a few people saying blurred, and I just checked on my phone, and it does appear a little bit blurred. Hopefully everyone can still follow and it will clear.
If it's blurred, it might be the actual lens needs cleaning on the phone. No, we're good? Okay.
I think it's just the signal.
Okay, signal problem. Right, I'm going to ask Mr. Busy Bakers to take the bowl off me because I don't need that. Alright, once you've got your biscuit base all packed down, then you'll want to put that in the fridge just to chill it for a bit. So we're just going to do that. Thank you very much. Right, now, we've got a new piece of equipment. Bear with me. Okay, so for the lemon curd, we're going to need a bit of heat for this. But prior to that, you're going to want a bowl, and you'll need a pan. Now I've put some hot water in the pan, vaguely hot water, it'll be heated anyway, but not enough to touch the bottom of my bowl. I don't want it to touch, I don't want any direct heat onto my curd. So as you can see, hopefully they can see, is that right? Yeah. So my bowl, it could be a bit smaller than this, but it is sat on my small pan so that the hot water will steam and cook what I've got in the glass bowl, but it won't directly be touching heat. Okay, so I'm going to put my pan away for a minute just so we can add things to the bowl now. Right, to this we are going to need 4 egg yolks. I'm also going to bring in, I've got a big glass bowl, which I'm going to put the egg whites in. So the egg yolks are going to go in one and the egg whites are going to go on the other. To make meringue, you don't want any grease or any egg yolk in with the meringue. You need it to be as clean as possible. So plastic bowls aren't the best. You can still do it, but glass, metal, porcelain are all preferred. So I've kept it glass and you can see through it then as well. Have we got any questions so far? Because I'm talking and I might...
Jill has asked, can she use a bain-marie?
Yeah, anything which is basically a double boiler should be fine. So to this, we're going to separate the 4 eggs. If you're nervous about doing this, you can always put a separate mug or bowl, so you can do it one by one, just in case you have an accident with it. Oh, I remember now. I thought I need to take my strap off for something, and I couldn't remember what. Now I've just remembered. If I have an accident with a yolk, I tend to catch it in my hand. Right. Okay. Right, so I've cracked it on the side, and I'm going to prise it open and hope that I make no errors whilst live. So if you get a good clean break, you can swap your yolk. Sorry, concentration and talking doesn't often go hand in hand with me. So I'm swapping the yolk between the 2 shells and dropping all the egg white. I've done the wrong way round though, haven't I? Silly me. Right, bear with me. Bad teacher moment. I'm going to let all that egg white drop in. Right, now I want the egg white in the bigger bowl, and I want my egg yolk in that bowl. Are we all good, or have I just confused everyone?
Louise has asked, can she use ginger nuts for the base?
If you want gingery tasting lemon meringue pie, that is no problem at all. Yeah, you can use Biscoff, anything really, same as the cheesecake, just be aware that obviously you got the flavour of it, but ginger and lemon should go. Now you see, that was a rubbish one. I got a tiny little bit of shell that I can't possibly separate them. So I'm going to use my old shell and drop that in. And if I get really, I'll show you actually, if I go, oh, you know what, that's not working, you could always use your hands and just let the white fall, and then put the yolk in the other one. Thank you. So we're going to do this 4 times. Have you got any questions, or is everyone balancing egg right now?
I think everyone's concentrating on that. I was about to say, can we get a thumbs up as you're getting this? But if they're working hard on it, they're probably too busy to.
Yeah, absolutely.
with hands covered in egg yolk.
There we go.
We're getting hearts and thumbs up though.
Oh, well done. Right, so...
Apparently you can buy egg separators too.
Oh, I need one of them. I'm constantly doing this for various things. Right. There we go. Of course, when you know how to make meringues, you can apply this to any kind of meringues you want to make, really.
So Emma says, are we using the egg white or the yolk?
So we're using both. We need them separated for different reasons. We're using the egg yolk in the curd, and we're using the egg white for the meringues.
And Marianne, who had the large eggs earlier, she's found they are large double yolk eggs.
Ooh.
Should we still use 4?
Yes, because overall, I mean, my eggs are about roughly 60 grams an egg. So if your eggs were 70, you're not going to have, you still need that extra egg. Right, my egg whites I'm going to put aside for a minute because I don't need them for now. I do need them, don't throw them away because we need those for the meringues, but we're concentrating on the curd first. So for anyone that doesn't want to make a lemon meringue pie today, this, if you've got a jar handy, once you've made it, you can put it in the jar and that will keep, and you can use that to put on your toast, your scones, your pancakes, whatever you want to do with it. Right, thumbs up when we've got separated eggs, please.
Mariah has a bit of yolk in her whites. Should she start over?
You could try getting it out, try using a bit of the shell to scoop it out. If you can do that, then you don't need to start over. Hopefully you can get it out.
And for Tracy, it was 150 grams of butter which went into the biscuit base.
Yes. So I'm just going to let you catch up for a minute. We all good? Thumbs up? Right, I'm going to put this back on. Bear with me. Didn't do that very well, but there we go. Right, so to the eggs, we're going to add the sugar. We've got 135 grams of sugar. So I'm going to pour that in. Don't put your butter in yet, because we're going to heat it before we put the butter in, just for anyone that's decided to go for it. And then we also want to put lemon juice. You don't need a juicer to do this. I just happen to have one. What I did forget to do is put a knife to cut the lemons. Bear with me. Thank you. Right, so we want the zest and we want the juice. I find it easier to zest it before I cut it. So you want about a tablespoon of lemon zest. So I would go, depending on the size of your lemons, for 2 of the lemons zested. So you don't have to use the lemon zest. The lemon juice will give it a lemon enough taste, but if you can add the zest, it's always nice.
So repeating the amounts for you, it's 4 eggs with the yolks separated from the whites. We're using the yolks for this section.
Thank you.
And 135 grams of sugar. And Michelle is currently zesting a lemon.
Yeah, don't get rid of your whites because that's your meringue. We're just setting them aside for now.
So it's the smaller amount of sugar, the 135 grams. A couple of people are froze, so they're trying to catch up on that, that's all.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
It's the wonders of modern technology, isn't it? That we can do this, and we can do it live, and we can communicate. But unfortunately, when something goes down, it's a little bit out of our hands. But we will always stop and catch up, and we don't mind repeating, we promise. So if you have missed something, just ask. Not a problem.
We're using caster sugar. Can you use other types of sugar?
I would imagine you can use granulated for this. I have never tried with brown sugar. I would have said for the curd maybe you can get away with it, but I haven't tried it, so I really couldn't tell you.
It's weird, you sometimes go a little bit out of focus. Perhaps it's the Prosecco. It all depends how much Prosecco you're drinking.
Drink a bit more, maybe that'll help.
Can you mix lemons and limes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any citrus fruit will work with this. I mean, obviously a lemon meringue is your most infamous, but if you want to make a lime meringue or a lemon and lime meringue, that's no problem at all. You could even do a grapefruit one or an orange. Right, I think I'm about there with what I want on that. So once you've zested them, if you want to cut them in half, if you're not using fresh lemons, if you've got lemon juice, that's not a problem. Obviously you won't have the zest, but you can just add the juice. We're looking for 80 millilitres of lemon juice. So I'm just going to use my juicer. I used to have a lovely jug which went with this, but I haven't got that anymore. Have you got any questions?
How many lemons to grate?
So I've grated 2.
And is it okay if the lemons are waxed?
Mine are unwaxed. Go by feel. I don't know, to be honest, with the wax. I maybe should have checked that. But majority you buy are unwaxed lemons. Do you want to Google that, Mr. Boozy Baker? We'll find out for you. Bear with us. It's going to be such a nice dessert. I just wonder who's going to eat it tonight or who's saving it for their Sunday lunch tomorrow. You might not need all 3 lemons. You can always weigh it out before breaking into the third one. See how much juice you've got from the first 2. You're looking for 80 millilitres.
It's not easy one-handed. She's doing very well.
Made a lot of cakes this week, one-handed and decorated. But I've got to say, Mr. Boozy Baker has been very good at helping.
How many lemons are you using, and how much mil of lemon juice?
So it's I've said 2 to 3 lemons because it really depends on the size of them. But you're looking for 80 millilitres of lemon juice.
I'm still trying to find out about wax lemons.
Yeah, we're still trying to find out about wax lemons for you. If you're unsure, just use the lemon juice is probably the best advice.
Wax lemon zest is safe to eat.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. So you'll be good to use that. Right, so I found that my 2 lemons has made 80 ml, so I'm not going to use that third one. That can live another day and end up in my gin and tonic later. So I'm going to add the 80 ml to my mix. So that's the egg yolks, the sugar, 135 grams of sugar, the lemon zest, and now the lemon juice.
That's 80 ml, 80 ml lemon juice.
And I'm also going to use a pinch of salt. No.
Susanna had already put in wax once, so she's thankful there.
You know what? I probably wouldn't even check. I'd probably just put them in anyway. But I'm glad you guys have some knowledge on that. Right. So all I've done is just lightly whisk those together. What we need to do is heat that. So can I get some thumbs up that we've got everything? We've got the yolk, the 135 grams of sugar, the lemon zest and the lemon juice all in with a pinch of salt in that bowl. Once we've got some thumbs up, we'll move on. We will wait.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're good. You're coming in. Right, well,
Gina's still zesting.
That's fine. Don't worry, because we've got a new piece of equipment, and I need to heat it up. Bear with me. Could we move this out of the way if that's all right? Sorry, bear with us. You might get a bit of a wobble in a minute as we Mr. Boozy moves around the kitchen. So we've got a lot of equipment today. So we've bought an on-the-counter hob. And the reason we've bought this, just checking the temperature, is so that we could do things with a bit of heat with you. So I want that on about a medium heat. I don't need anything to bubble over. I just need that water to be hot enough to cook this mixture. But it might take a minute just to heat up there. So we'll give it a bit of time whilst you're all getting ready. So if there's any kids doing this and adults trying to help you, please do let them because obviously we've got a bit of heat. If you're testing the temperature, always use the back of your hand because if it's too hot and you get close, you'll pull away rather than that way you might grab it. So use the back of your hand.
We had a disaster from Laura, the sugar and zest into the egg whites.
Oh no!
So I'll have to revisit later. Can you just run through what's in your curd mix again?
So there's 4 egg yolks. There is 135 grams of sugar. you've got the zest of 2 lemons and 80 millilitres of lemon juice. And to Laura, with your mix of egg whites and lemon, if I were you, Google what you can do with egg whites and lemon, because you might be able to make a bit of a roulade or something with that before you toss it.
Gina, should we use a balloon whisk or a wooden spoon?
So you'll need a whisk for this, ideally. You could use a spoon. I'm sure it will still work, but I like a whisk on this. So I've not got much temperature, but it's not going to hurt to put my bowl on top for now. So you want your heat, just a low heat on your pan. The pan has got some water in it, but it's not touching the bowl. It's quite important that it's just receiving the heat like that and not directly onto the bowl. So once you've got it heated, you're going to want to keep stirring. You will feel like a crazy person stirring for a while because it won't do anything. And then you will find it starts to froth. The first time I made this, I thought it was because I was whisking too much. You will find it eventually all froths up and then it starts to go thicker. And that's what you want. You want a thicker consistency, like a hollandaise or something, like a creamy sauce, like a custard, I suppose.
Diane's going for an orange curd. How many oranges?
I would say, well, the zest of an orange depends how big it is, really, I suppose. But definitely the zest of an orange. If you want it particularly orangey, maybe use 1.5, and then it's 80 ml. So just squeeze out the juice of 1 orange, measure it. If you need a bit more, cut into that second one.
How hot does the water need to be?
So the water needs to be simmering. It doesn't need to be really vigorously bubbling away, just simmering enough to pass on the heat to the lemon curd. So mine, because it's not my usual gas hob, it's taking probably a bit longer to actually heat up. I'm not feeling any heat in that at the moment. So you might actually do this quicker than I will, but I can at least tell you what to look for whilst mine catches up.
Have you used any baking powder?
No baking powder. No, as I said, if you a lot of lemon meringue pies will make a filling which has more water and it has corn flour in it. If you want to do that, you can add the corn flour into a paste and with a bit of the lemon juice, and then add it to this with the water. But then you've got to be really careful about having a lumpy mix. And for the purpose of this workshop, I just wanted to keep it quite simple. So we're making a very true concentrated lemon curd.
Do we need to put butter in the lemon curd mix?
Not yet. We're going to heat it up, we're going to change the consistency, and then we're going to add the butter.
See, Julia's on our wavelength. Could she pop a bit of limoncello in?
Of course. Go for it.
And your mum's proven herself to be the queen of life hacks and says egg whites and lemon juice make an excellent face mask.
Oh, there you go. Right, I can hear this heating up now. Yeah, okay, I've got some nice hot water underneath. We're still getting used to this hob. Right, so we'll give that a stir. And we'll chat away as we're whisking.
Lisa's bowl just cracked.
Oh no, Lisa! If you can save the mix, if there's not any bits, if it's a clean break, maybe put it in another bowl. Really sorry that happened to you.
Those wanting to jump to the next step, how much butter for the next stage?
Oh gosh, if you're ahead of me and you've got you need it to be thick, it needs to have changed consistency to a thick sauce. Then you've got 90 grams of butter that you're adding, and you need to whisk that in.
Shelley didn't mean baking powder; she meant corn flour.
So if you want to make a thicker, denser lemon meringue pie, you want to add 2 tablespoons of corn flour and about 300 ml of water. We're not doing that as our core recipe today. It's just for anyone that wants to have a go at that. Then yeah, that's how much you would add. As I said, for anyone not wanting to make the whole lemon meringue pie, this is a true lemon curd recipe rather than a filling recipe. So you can add this into a jar and enjoy this anytime, or come back to the recipe just for the lemon curd part and remake that.
Could you use spread instead of butter for the curd?
Yes. Yeah, that's no problem at all. Yeah, margarine, and I think dairy-free spread will also work.
And Anthony's back with the pineapple on meringue. He's only joking.
There's nothing wrong with pineapple. I don't know how many first-time people we have on with us today, but hello to anyone. It's their first workshop with us. For anyone returning, I hope you're enjoying them. We're trying to keep them different, getting different bakes each week. We do try to keep them, we do try to add them as fast as we can. It really is depending on how busy we are in the kitchen and how organised and what else we've got going on in life. But you'll see that the next class next week is carrot cake, which is proving to be very popular.
If adding the cornflour and water, do they add it now or when it goes thick?
No, if you want to add corn flour, you're going to need to make a paste. So put your corn flour in a little bowl and add a bit of your juice or your liquid, make it into a paste, and then gradually add it so that it doesn't have lumps in it. And then once the corn flour is in, you can add the water.
Gina's is looking frothy now. Excellent.
Yeah, mine's starting to froth. So just keep whisking. It does take a few minutes, but you'll find that the froth keeps going and kind of takes over until that is like the new colour.
Sudipta is saying this is so helpful.
Excellent, you're very welcome.
A couple of people asking for things to repeat. So for the base, we've used 300 grams of digestive biscuit, crushed up and mixed with 150 grams of melted butter. And for the curd, there are 4 egg yolks with 135 grams of sugar, the zest of 2 lemons and lemon juice, 80 mils of lemon juice plus a pinch of salt, and is now being heated over a pan of water, not touching the water.
Do you like my new, what do you call it? Kind of like the talk over bits. I love that. He's so good. It does take a few minutes, so I'll just chat to you and feel free to chat to me and tell me what you've been up to. But we have aprons for you guys, for those that wanted them, that we'll be adding to our shop very shortly. I have a prototype which, the logo is actually going to get a bit bigger. I don't know if this will go over my head, it won't. But I don't know if you can see, it says I'm a boozy baker on our lime green apron. It's going to be slightly bigger than that when it's ready. We went with the majority and our colours are lime green, so we're going to add those to our site. We're thinking we're going to be charging £15 plus postage and packaging. So if you're collecting from us directly, it's £15. On the site it will be more likely to be £18.50 just to cover for postage. So if you want more than one, you might be able to let us know, and we can or we'll add it as a feature on the shop that it doesn't charge you for the postage each time. If you want it in a different colour to the lime green, we can order them in light colours. But obviously where we're printing, that was a trial one. We're working with this lovely local company, and they've very kindly used one of our old aprons just to see how it printed on. So we recommend lighter colours. So if you want a lemon or a pale pink or a pale blue, we can do that for you, but it will be a pre-order so that we know that you've paid for your apron. So if you're interested, I will be putting up a post, but feel free to get in touch and let us know what you think to those. And we will add some children's aprons as well. I'm just working on the design because we'll be slightly altered logo for that. But I will be working on that very shortly.
Becky says her arm aches. And on that note, Diane says she sees you're staring like mad with your left hand. How is your right wrist?
It's okay. I can do simple. It's pressure that seems to make it twinge now. Last week this would have sent me shooting up into the ceiling in pain. And by the end of last week's workshop, I realised that my fingers had lots of pins and needles, and soon after my fingers were twice the size as the other hand. So we went down, we rang 111 and said, what do I do? And they said to go down to the walk-in centre. So I went to the walk-in centre, and it's tendinitis basically. It's just overuse, and they've swollen and pressed on the nerves and all that. But swelling's gone down, the pain is very reduced. I'm just using the splint now for when I'm doing these jobs. I can do so much with my left hand, but it's not as useful as my right. So you will find I'm swapping quite a bit. But it's just the pressure. If I'm doing anything that really requires some force, I can't use my right hand.
Anne's asked, will a spring form tin be suitable?
Yes, if that's all you have, use it. It's just because of the meringue. You just for showing it. If you've got a shallow tin, the meringue goes over the top. But if that's all you have, that's fine. Just be careful cutting around it, and you should be able to release it, shouldn't you, for a spring form?
Gina says, do the egg yolks do the thickening if we don't use corn flour?
Yeah, it does thicken, I promise.
And Donna's asked, how much corn flour and water are you using, please?
If you're doing that, then it's 2 tablespoons of corn flour and 300 ml of water should do the trick. It's not part of the core recipe today. We're just doing without it. Having made this curd numerous times this week, it does set nice and firm. So obviously you're not using the corn flour, but you're not using all the water. You've just got a more concentrated, and you get a jar full, so it sits quite nicely with over the top of the biscuits.
Melanie says she would like an apron. Nigel asks, will the apron have an adjustable neck strap?
Yes, it will. Yeah, they're exactly the same aprons as I'm wearing, so you get an adjustable strap here, and then the ties at the back. So yeah, we actually decided to stay with the same aprons that we use all the time, because they are so much more versatile, and we know they wash well as well.
Some people are not getting theirs to froth or thicken, others are.
Keep going. It does take some time. Mine is frothing. I don't know if I can show you there. Oh, it's a bit of steam. You can see that the yellow's still there, but it is frothing. You saw all the steam coming up there, so that's all captured underneath, and that's cooking the lemon curd.
What consistency are we looking for in the whisky?
As you whisk the thickness, it should be like a hollandaise sauce. So kind of like an extra thick cream, that kind of consistency. It will still run, but it won't. You'll find it will go the lightness of the froth, that kind of pale lemon. And it will you'll see the whisk moving around. It will leave like a stream or a tail of as it thickens. I hope that explains it. I'll try and show you as mine thickens.
And have we got any more news on the recipe book?
Yes, the recipe book, I need to add a few more recipes. I've got all the details, I've got the pictures. I just need to add it and put it on, and I could have it live in the next week or so. I've just been not caught out. I've been working a bit slower because of the wrist. And then we had Father's Day and a lot of birthdays this week. So I've still got a cake that's not been picked up. So I'm slightly looking to see if it's I've got a customer collecting it yet, but no.
Marion's asked, have you had to eat lemon meringue pies all week? What a job.
I know, it's horrible. As I said, the carrot cake, because it's just been so hectic in the kitchen, my mum actually offered, and she's a very good cook herself, so she offered to make the cake this week. So they've been saying how lovely it is, but I haven't tried the carrot cake yet. We are getting there. I think it's drink time. Right, once you have a nice, you'll see the colours change. That will be your key indicator. Mine's not actually as thick as I had thought I would get it, but if I show it to the camera without burning myself, can I see that? It is hot, so
yeah.
It's all right, Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see it's thicker.
And a lovely smell of lemons.
Lots of smell. So I've got my 90 gram butter. I'm going to add that. And I'm going to just mix that in. It's a nice colour.
Does the oven need to be on yet?
You can put the oven on if you want. As I said, it's on quite a low temperature, so it won't take very long, and you've still got your meringue to make.
And Tracy liked their Bailey and Malteser loaded box, which arrived
Excellent. Today. I'm glad you like that. Right, so I'm going to leave my meringue pie on this hob's off. There's no heat on that. I'm going to leave that there for a minute just to cool down a bit whilst we make the meringue. My heat is off of that, so that is just going to cool down on the pan. Just be very careful with anything hot. Are we?
Do you need me to move it?
Yeah, thank you. I thought, well, I'm just going to move that so we don't move something with hot water on it. Lovely. So we've just moved ours aside just to give me a space again. You might be able to see the lemon meringue, the lemon curd just in the corner of the screen there. Is everyone with us? Have we all got a lemon curd that's settled? So once you've got to that stage, I don't want to go too fast because I'm aware that some of you are still on the lemon curd, so that's fine. I can repeat, but for those of you that got ahead of me because you had superb hobs, and you are, sorry, I'm blaming the hob, and Mr. Boozy Bakers is looking sad because he bought it for me. It's his new toy. So you're back with your 4 egg whites that you had from earlier. Right, so you've got your 4 egg yolks in there. Now we are going to use an electric whisk on this because whisking meringues by hand sounds awful. So if you have got a machine with a whisk attachment, feel free to use that. This is in my mixing bowl that I would normally put under a machine with a whisk. Bear with us whilst we're just changing the electrics. But obviously for the purpose of this workshop, I wanted to be able to show you what I was doing. So you've got 4 egg whites. Are we all good?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. And I'm going to whisk those. It is going to be a bit louder, but I'm going to whisk those until there is soft peaks. And what I mean by that is they can stand up. They can literally, you can take your whisk out and there'll be nice soft peaks, but it's, you know, it stands up on its own. Have we got any questions before I start to whisk?
Not questions, but Anne-Louise saying she's a newbie and loving this, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
Colin saying more of this please, never tried before.
Brilliant. Yes, we've got lots and they're all on YouTube channel. If you go to Boozy Bakers workshops, you'll see a huge list of them now. Right, so I'm going to turn...
Please subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe and you get a notification every time we put a new one on. Right, I'm going to start whisking the egg whites.
Bit noisy,
I've got a question.
Yeah, will a mixer do?
Yes, you can use a mixer as long as it's got a whisk attachment. You need to aerate it, so it has to be a whisk. And I'm going to do this on a high speed. Don't add the sugar yet, you need to have soft peaks first. I'm going to show you what I mean by soft peaks. Is you can see that the egg white has foamed up, and you can see it's holding its own shape now. So when you've got it to that amount, you're going to put in half of the amount of sugar. So I've got 200 grams of caster sugar weighed out, and I'm going to put roughly half of that gradually. So I'll show you what I mean, how I'm going to do it. Bit, whisk it, bit. Right, so if you caught that, it's bit by bit, I've put half of it in.
You start with 200 grams of sugar.
So you want about 100 grams in when you've got your soft peaks, and it should start to look glossier now. Now when you've got about halfway with your sugar, you want to whisk in about 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Again, if you do it whilst you're whisking, and just gradually put it into your mix. We all good? Got questions?
To repeat what you've done so far with that is you've taken the egg whites.
Egg whites, we've whisked those up until they create soft peaks, so they are quite a lot of structure in there. Then we've added half the sugar, so in total we've added about half of it. And then we added 2 tablespoons of corn flour. I appreciate this is going a bit fast, so I'll keep repeating. And then we're going to put the remainder 100 grams of caster sugar in. It's all done on a high speed. So I don't know if you can see now, we've got a glossier finish. It's still quite firm on our meringue there.
We're also getting questions about the oven temperature. So it's 170 degrees or 150 to a fan oven or gas mark 3.
Right, you end up with a very glossy mix that you should be able to tip upside down and it won't fall out. Could we have the dish back, please? Thank you very much. Right, so have I kept up with everyone? Because I don't want to do this whilst everyone's whisking.
Rona says she's not making the pie, but just tasted the lemon curd. It was amazing.
Good, excellent.
And Jill says it does taste nice even with the extra corn.
Right, I'm going to pour my curd in. I still think I needed to whisk that a bit more, but it will set.
So yes, Louise, it's 2 teaspoons, although 2 tablespoons seems to be fine as well.
Very sorry, everyone. So my curd, I'm just going to pour in. It started to set a little bit on the top, actually. I think that's more what it is. Usually, if you put it into a jar, you'll find the top of it starts to set, where you've got the air to it, and the bottom will take a bit longer.
Charlotte's got a shop bought pastry case. Should she remove it from the foil or bake with it?
Yeah, you can keep it in that.
Gina's saying, can she put the meringue on too if ready?
Yes, if it's all ready, what I would advise, bear with me, start at the outside with your meringue. If your curd is really runny, you might want to wait to do this until it's a little bit more set, or put it back in the fridge. Mine, because it didn't heat up very well, I know a few of you have said yours is starting to set already, mine's not. So I don't want to completely do mine because I think the meringue will sink in it until it's set a bit more. So if you're in my position and it's a runny curd or it's not that thick, what I would do is pour it into the base and then put it in the fridge for the next 10 minutes or so, and then test it again. It doesn't have to be solid, we're not looking for that, but you do want to be able to put a light fluffy bit of meringue on top and it not sink in. If you are a little bit more set, which I think a lot of you are, get a scoop of your meringue and start on the outside and put it so it's touching the pastry. That will help to seal your lemon curd into the pie. Now I can see mine, it needs to rest a bit longer, so I'm going to do a little bit, but then I'm going to put mine in the fridge. But I just wanted to show you, I'm just spooning it on like so. I would do all the outside and then fill the middle, but as is the way with live things, you can practice this numerous times, and the minute you're live and you're talking at the same time as doing, you might just need to adapt. So mine does need to rest that. If I don't have them in the fridge, it would be out, but it probably just needs that bit of time. I can see it setting on top a little bit, but I just think it might make the meringue sink into my pie. So if you are finding you're the same as me, just chill it for a few minutes and then add the meringue. In fact, as I'm talking to you, I'm going to ask Mr. Breezy Baker to do that, and then hopefully we can bring it out again.
When it's ready, how long in the oven?
So this is preference because we're only needing to cook the top of the meringue. We would suggest about 15-20 minutes. But it depends how marshmallowy and fluffy you want your meringues to how crunchy you want it. So 20 minutes on a low temperature should be fine. Keep an eye on it. You want the meringue to be golden on top. So just a little hint of that golden bake should be absolutely fine and delicious. And then you need to leave it to rest for about an hour because you are cooking everything again, so you need it to solidify. So leave it a good hour afterwards. Even longer will do. You can leave it on the side or in the fridge. And for those of you celebrating Father's Day tomorrow, you can bring it out and surprise Dad. So yeah, that's looking a bit better. Let's try it again. I can see that there's a bit of a crust on it now. So for anyone asking how to put the meringue on, I am literally just going round it in scoops. Like so. I like rustic, I like points because it means that the oven catches all those points and makes them nice and toasty.
We've got lots of thank yous for today and for their workshops as well. They're really enjoying them.
You're very welcome. Tell us which one your favourite one is as well. I'd love to know. I've got a guess as to which one's been the most popular because we can see how many views and how many repeats we've had of it. But I'd love to know which ones you've enjoyed the most, and if there's anything that you'd like to have a go at, we will try our best. I think we probably need to go back to doing some kind of biscuit workshop soon.
And again, if you're looking to look back at any of our videos, if you've only just joined us recently, they are all on YouTube. Please like and subscribe our videos. Yeah, you'll find we've got, sorry, for anyone watching, I'm just moving it around a bit and just kind of pushing it up in the air just to create more texture. Yeah, we've got scones, biscuits, pizza, whoopie pies, cinnamon buns, what else have we done? Tea loaf, banana loaf, lots and lots of things to follow. So do have a good look. There you go. There is our completed. Just needed a few more minutes.
But that's
not a surprise. Cinnamon buns have been very popular.
yeah, cinnamon buns has definitely been the most popular one we've done. We also have the cinnamon bun kits still available on our shop. So if you can't get hold of yeast or you just want a nice easy go-to, they are £12. That includes postage and packaging. And we've also found it makes a really nice gift to give someone, especially we found that kids have enjoyed doing our baking workshops. And now our name, saying Boozy Bakers, does not suggest that, but we have kids ourselves. We're very kid friendly, and we just want everyone to be able to enjoy baking. So I hope that's what you've done. Ours is now ready to go in the oven. I look forward to seeing your pictures. Do let us know how you got on, and join us next week for carrot cake making at 2 p.m. Thanks guys.